Every book on this list I would literally recommend a million times over again. When I was putting together this list, I was like, wow, why are these some of like the best books ever written? And I'm so excited to share them with you guys. According to Storygraph, like LGBTQIA is like literally my second or like third most read like reading category. Like I am always going to pick up those books because they legitimately are just so amazing to me. I have curated this list of 15 books. Happy Pride Month, happy June. I know this is like later in the month, but I wanted to kind of like do this towards the end of the month because honestly, you guys, you need to be reading these year round. The same way you need to be reading Black year round, you need to be reading gay year round. And I stand by it. Without further ado, hi, my name is Jaslyn. This is Jazzy's Land. I am a big time reader, a big time creative, and I'm very excited to get into some of my favorite queer books. The first one being She Who Became the Sun by Shelley Parker Chan. This is a duology. I don't own the first book, but I own the second book, so it's weird. I know that's kind of crazy, but you know, life happens. So this book honestly was so amazing to me. I think I read it probably in like 1 to 2 days. Like I literally just picked it up and ran right through it. This follows a young girl. This follows basically her whole entire life. She grew up like very poor, like dirt poor, and then one day like her father is beaten to death and then her brother just dies, and so then she just impersonates her brother so she can then go and become like a monk or whatever. And basically like we follow her journey as she's like impersonating her brother. I love the way that it kind of like tackles and like deals with like identity, because she is pretending to be a man, and a lot of people, or majority of the people in the book, view her as a man. And so we get kind of like those dynamics. I feel like this book is an oldie but a goodie. If you haven't read it, I think that you should put it on your list and read it. This is not a spoiler, but there is like a random like fisting scene. And when I say random, I mean really random. Like I can tell you that it's about to happen, but like I don't think you'll expect it. So I don't know. It's not something I commonly see in books, so. And this is not like a smutty book at all. Like this is not a romance. It's very like fantasy, very high fantasy, with multiple POVs, with multiple queer characters in this fantasy novel. So highly would recommend. The next book on this list, I do have the physical copy of, and that is Son of the Morning by Akwaeke Emezi. This follows Galilee. She is a part of like this powerful like family. Like all of her family have like powers, but like Galilee's always been different. She's always been a bit more powerful, a bit stronger. And so basically one day she meets Lucifer. She doesn't know that he's the devil at the time, but she meets him. They have sex, and then, you know, things ensue. This is a throuple, if you can't tell by the cover. This is a throuple, and I absolutely like adored that. I adored the dynamic between all three characters in the book. Outside of the romance, like this is a romantasy, but I think outside of the romance, there's like a lot going on, and there's a very like good like storyline that just keeps you captivated. This is another book that I feel like you will absolutely, like if you pick this up, you will absolutely run through it because it is just so good and holds you so well. And I love Akwaeke Emezi. Like honestly, they could do nothing wrong in my eyes. Next we have Silver Under Nightfall by Rin Chupeco. This is another throuple. Oh, sorry guys. Basically he's a vampire hunter, and he gets mixed up in this married couple who like they're vampires, like they're like the vampire king guy or whatever. He gets kind of incorporated into like their vampire kingdom and stuff because they are trying to like build relationships, really build better relations between vampires and humans. And so he gets kind of sent in, and they kind of, you know, develop like a romantic relationship with each other. And I just ate this book up so much. It was so good. A very strong like plot line, while also having like a very intimate relationships. Like you really get to see, I loved like him and like the husband. I feel like I kind of really loved their relationship with each other. I never read the second one in this series, so I don't actually know if it is good. I've only read the first book in the series because there was some like controversy around Rin Chupeco, which I tried to look it up just like to see, you know, what it was, but it just feels like a lot of like he said she said kind of stuff. So if y'all know about Rin Chupeco or like what happened or whatever, let me know if I should just like burn this book or whatever. But I did enjoy the book. The next book I have on my list is In the Dream House by Carmen Marie Machado. This is a nonfiction. I believe this is considered a memoir, but basically she's talking about her relationship, that was abusive. She was in an abusive relationship that was like emotionally abusive, and she goes through and talks about like her experience with that, and then also talks about how abusive relationships may look different for queer people, and basically the different reactions, you know, you may get from being in like an abusive relationship when you are queer, or like people don't believe you as much, and like kind of getting into the nuance there. And honestly, it's just so amazing. I gave this book 5 stars. I think for the review I just wrote like, yeah, exactly, or like, wow, like, or something like that, because it really kind of shifted, like it gave me like a new perspective on things, and I really enjoyed reading it, and I highly recommend to anyone, like especially like if you're in like a queer relationship and stuff. The next book we have is A Diary of Blood by S.T. Gibson. So if you watch my videos, then you know that I love S.T. Gibson, and if you know S.T. Gibson, you know that S.T. Gibson loves a throuple. I'm pretty sure I've only read like 1 book by them that was not a throuple. I promise not all of them are throuples. These first ones just happen to be. Don't judge me, guys. I like what I like. Like, I have a type, you have a type, everybody has a type, okay? So, you know, leave me be. A Diary of Blood follows the story of Dracula, but from Dracula's wife's perspective. Basically follow them as they get like as she, like, when she meets Dracula, how she gets kind of like you know, wrapped up into his like how she gets like wrapped up into him, and then like when he like changes her into a vampire, and then like they progress in their relationship, they bring in another like person, like a third, into their relationship, and then eventually like when she goes to like kill him, that's not a spoiler, like you know that Dracula's like, she kills Dracula from page 1, like it's inevitable. And it really gets into like the toxic kind of like relationship. This is one of those books I reread kind of like every year when it gets like around like fall time. I just bring this book back out because it just scratches something in my brain that I just love. The prose is so beautiful, so pretty, but it's also like exploring a lot of like toxic negative behaviors. I actually wrote a poem inspired by this book because that's how much I loved it. So everyone has their things. The next one on the list is Eat the Ones You Love by Sarah Marie Griffin. I would describe Eat the Ones You Love as Little Shop of Horrors, but from the plant's perspective. So the plant is basically like narrating everything, so it's like seeing everything happen. I actually think this is so funny. I'm actually going to read my review for Eat the Ones You Love. I wrote, if you love Little Shop of Horrors, here's the book for you. I found the plant so creepy, and the book was giving me the heebie-jeebies during some of the scenes. Honestly, I really liked it. Now BRB while I go take a shower. Like, this book legitimately creeped me out. I feel like this is just when I was getting into like my horror phase. Like, I haven't really read that much horror, but like I feel like now I'm reading more horror, and specifically like queer horror. I think is just so interesting and so good. But I feel like this was kind of like that introduction to it. So we do follow the main character, does like women, so she kind of like gets into a relationship with a girl, and like basically the plant doesn't like that. The plant ultimately wants control over her life, and it's creepy, it's interesting, and it's a little gay. I don't know, if you're into that, you should read it. Next, we have Empty Heaven by Freddie Kolsch. So I actually just recently finished reading this and I thought it was just so good. This is another like queer horror. This follows Darian, and she spends her summers in like this like kind of backwater town in like New England. Everybody in this town kind of worships like this like scarecrow like god, and she basically like she only comes there for the summer. She has friends there, whatever. She's just thinking like, yeah, these people are weird, but it's no big deal. She starts unraveling like that there's actually something much sinister going on when like the girl that she has a crush on gets kind of wrapped up in this ritual, and that kind of gets her wrapped up in this ritual. She's trying to basically save her best friend from becoming like this monster and trying to basically free the people of this town because they're caught up in some stuff. And I also think it's like so sweet. I love a found family, and I think that found family is done really well in here. They've all been friends for years, and I think that they all kind of grown to like really know each other and like understand each other a certain way, and there's like some beautiful moments like between the friends and stuff. Daria has to kind of overcome some of like her insecurities and her fears and things that I think is done really well. That at first I was like, what's going, like what are you trying to do here, like what are you trying to do? I was questioning the author, but the author ate, they did their big one. They really won me over. It really just like had everything come together really well, and I think you should read it. Next on the list we have Scorched Grace by Margot Doheny. This was like such a random book, but this follows a queer nun who's like super badass. Basically there's a fire at the coven. She's not a witch, she's a nun. Oh my gosh, what are those things called that nuns go to? Not, wow, I don't know why I can't, whatever. But basically she works at like, you know, a Christian school or whatever, as a nun, and like she's like this really like badass nun, you guys. Like she's got like the tattoos and stuff, but like she's like, oh, I converted, like, you know, because she had some traumatic stuff happen in her past, and so basically when that stuff happened she converted to be a nun, and now she's just trying to do her nun thing. But then there's like some arsonists going around. She's like, all right, now I gotta play detective. I don't know why she decides to play detective, but that's just the kind of character that she is, and I think she is so funny. She's one of my favorite characters I've read, to be honest. Like I thought she was like super clever and witty, and I enjoyed reading from her perspective. I do think the book kind of like stalled out a little bit in the middle, but because of the character I still like enjoyed reading it, and I continued through. And when you get to the end, you're like, what the actual fuck just happened? And I adored that. I adored that. I think, you know, if you have a complicated relationship with like religion and also like your queerness, then maybe you should read A Scorched Grace. Next we have The Transition by Logan Ashley Kisner. This book, 5 stars for me. This book was 5 stars. This follows a transgender teen who just got top surgery. So he's post-op gets bitten by a werewolf, and his body starts to change in a way that he was not expecting. Like there's already like this kind of like this body dysmorphia because they're transgender, but then also it's like now I'm dealing with like literally turning into a monster, and him and his 2 best friends get together and they're trying to figure out like what's going on. And both, you know, these characters are like realizing things about like each other and their relationships. The main character's name is Hunter, and Hunter is like overcoming like a lot of like insecurities and stuff about feeling like, you know, no one's going to support them. They are dealing with like not being believed after being like sexually assaulted and like all of this stuff. And like this werewolf is also like invading them. Like that's what makes it so creepy and like so sinister, is like the way that the werewolf is like paralleling like some of like Hunter's like trauma. That just makes it so interesting and creepy and uncomfortable and lovely when they like overcome it. Found family kind of trope that I just ate up. So I highly recommend The Transition. I think that it was just so well done. I cried. I shed a gangster tear for this one. I really did, because it was that serious for me. It was that serious. Next on our list is going to be Francine's Spectacular Crash and Burn by Renee Swindle. Now, I'm pretty sure I have a reading vlog on this book. Following Francine after her mother has died. Her mother was like agoraphobic. Francine has hella anxiety. She was bullied relentlessly, basically her whole entire life, for like having dark skin and for having a weird mom. And so she has a lot of like insecurities. She is about to kill herself when she kind of meets up with like this young kid who basically is the son of this girl that she had a crush on back when she was like in high school, and they kind of get caught up in each other, and we're watching them kind of like develop like a codependent kind of relationship with each other and kind of spiral out. And also Francine spiraling out because like she's going through like grief, like she's grieving so hard, and it's just making her act out in ways that she may not have ever acted out otherwise. And I think that is so like I feel like I say every book is so interesting, but like they really are. Like they really are. They each like explore like different kind of aspects of the human experience, and that's why I just love reading so much. But that's neither here nor there. Exploring like her, basically how grief is affecting her, and also her coming to terms with like who she is and being comfortable with who she is. I thought it was like super like raw and like super real and honest, and I think that you guys should read it. Next on the list is The Daughters of Itizar by Hadir Elspy. This is a Egyptian inspired fantasy. When I recommend this to people, I always say if you love the magic system in Avatar: The Last Airbender, then you should pick this up, because the magic systems are very similar. Basically, like, you know, instead of like having like water benders, air benders, or whatever, they're called weavers. So there's a water weaver, air weaver, so on and so forth. It follows like these two different women from two different like classes. So like there's like one, she's like this rich woman, and one who's like a poorer woman. And honestly, when I think about this book, I just say women's stories matter.
Women's stories matter. Yeah, they just matter.
They do. Like this is a truly feminist read, and I think that it was just chef's kiss. So many points in this book will have you like so frustrated and like wanting to like scream, I want to free them. Like, girl, use your powers and really like get yourself up out of there, because it's not it. It's super political. I feel like this book too. It's a lot of like political like intrigue and like them trying to like move like these working pieces to kind of like get rights for themselves as women. Did I say that women's stories matter? Because they do. Next on the list we have Icarus by Kay Ankrum. This follows two boys. This follows Icarus, and Icarus is a art thief. Him and his daddy are art thieves, and they basically like steal art and then create like replications of this art, you know what I mean, like so nobody knows that it's like stolen. And basically this house next door, like his daddy got beat, their neighbors or whatever, and so basically he raised his son to kind of like just constantly be over there like stealing art pieces from them and then like replicating it. It's a little bit of like a ridiculous kind of like plot, like you've been stealing from the same family for forever and ever. Like it's kind of like it's a little ridiculous, but I think the thing that really shines in this book are the relationships. So like Icarus is very closed off, and or tries to be closed off. Like he's basically been trained by his father not to like have deep relationships with anybody. Even through all of that, like we see like their like these friendships like really shine, and then eventually like Icarus develops feelings for the boy next door who he's been stealing from, and they've been having like these late night kind of like meetups where they basically fall in love with each other, and it's like so sweet. Next on the list we have When Women Were Dragons by Kelly Barnhill. This is I know I'm about to say this is an interesting book. Yes, we know, we get it. This book follows it's like an alternate like dystopian America where women basically are randomly turning into dragons. Like, I want to say like combusting into dragons, but I know that's not the right word, but like literally like breaking out of their skin and like spreading their wings and like flying and becoming dragons. And nobody knows why. It's like a scientific, like, people are so confused as to why these women are turning into dragons, why some women are turning and some other women aren't turning, but the government is trying to sweep it under the rug. They're trying to be like, oh, you know, we don't know what's going on, but you know, let's not talk about it. Basically, like, if we don't talk about it, then it didn't happen. Like, these women like turning dragons, they're gone now, let's all be hush hush about it. And then they're trying to like train the girls, if you behave a certain way, if you are calm, if you are good, then you won't turn into a dragon, because like turning into a dragon is like the worst thing that you could possibly do. This book is interesting because of the way that it's written. It's sprinkled throughout is like, you know, like these articles and like different things, scientific research and stuff like that, basically explaining the phenomena of these women turning into dragons. Next on our list is Thin Girls by Diana Clark. Ugh, I loved this book. I loved it so bad. Thin Girls just like scratched like the perfect, like the exact spot. I was like, oh my gosh, like I need to scratch that, but I can't reach it. Thin Girls reached it. So this follows twins, Rose and Lily, and basically growing up, Rose, so it has two timelines. It has the current timeline and then the past timeline. So in the past, we're learning about Rose when she develops her eating disorder. Basically, they're twins, they look just alike. They grow up being like kind of like inseparable and like always being one and looking like mirrors of each other. And then Rose stops eating and Lily begins to eat everything, like eat anything that what Rose isn't eating, Lily's eating. And so basically both of them have like eating disorders, have like some type of like disordered eating. As a timeline, Rose is in a facility for eating disorders, but then Lily gets kind of caught up in like this relationship, and then she starts like developing like more kind of like anorexic like eating disorder, I want to say. And basically when Rose sees that, she's like, I need to get out of this facility so I can go be with my sister. Basically, it really explores like the codependency that these two sisters had with each other. And then also Rose specifically, because she's like using like her eating disorder to kind of like repress her like sexuality as well, because she has like mixed feelings about that. It's just like such like a good character study, like these two women and their relationship with each other, their relationship with food, their romantic relationships, what they look for. I think I gave this 5 stars as well. Thin Girls, ugh, like this is a book I will reread again. Okay, guys, lastly but not leastly, Chain Gang All-Stars by Nana Kwame. This book, chef's kiss. This is a multi-POV story that really gets into the prison system. It's a critique of the prison system, critique on like the entertainment system in this like dystopian like America or whatever. Prisoners can fight their way out of prison. They join like these games where it's like basically a reality TV show, so they're constantly on camera, they're being filmed, and they have to fight other prisoners to the death. And if you survive like a certain number of matches, I can't remember what the exact number is, if they survive like all these matches, then basically they're like, okay, we'll set you free. Obviously no one's been set free yet, because you're fighting to the death. So it's like you have to kill, like either you die or you get killed. So one of the people that we're following basically is about to like hit that like number to where they should be released. They just have to win one last fight or whatever. It's so messed up. I like it because we also get into we get POVs of like audience members, like who's watching like and consuming this kind of content and like what they think about it. Honestly, just talking about it makes me think like I really need to reread this, because it was that good and it really was that serious. The 15 books that I would recommend that you should read, that you should throw on your TBR right now. If you have read any of these books, then bestie, like, yes twin, because if you love them, then I love you. I love you. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you made it to the end of the video, why don't we leave like a little secret? Let's leave a little fairy. Like, if you made it to the end of the video, leave a little fairy emoji. Please remember to like, comment, subscribe, share, do all of the good stuff, all of that, and I will see you guys in the next ones. Much love. Mwah. Bye. Thanks for coming to Jazzy's Land. Don't forget to like, comment, and share.